Wow, this is pretty explosive. Are Blake Lively's attorneys terrified of her suing them for malpractice now?
They posted it on LinkedIn. Like it was something to be proud of. A law firm, a big, powerful Hollywood law firm. They went onto their public LinkedIn page and told the world they had secured a favorable settlement for Blake Lively. Favorable. That's the word they used. This woman walked away with $0, dropped every single claim, and her own attorneys are out here bragging about it like they just won the Super Bowl? You already know what I'm about to say, because you've been watching this whole thing fall apart in real time, just like the rest of us. Here's the thing, though. This isn't just about Blake losing. This goes deeper. A lot deeper. And the people who are the most desperate to spin this story right now aren't Blake's publicists. It's her lawyers. Mark Geragos, one of the most seasoned celebrity attorneys in Hollywood, went on national television and said something that made a lot of people sit up straight. He said that when Judge Lyman threw out 10 of Blake Lively's 13 claims, he didn't just dismiss them quietly. He criticized her legal team throughout that ruling, publicly, on the record. And Geragos said that criticism was so pointed, so damaging, that it gave Blake a real opening to sue her own attorneys for malpractice. Tens of millions of dollars worth of malpractice.
This is a very fascinating twist.
As soon as her case was gutted, she had a monstrous legal malpractice action against her lawyers.
Also, someone sent me the LinkedIn page of Manat, where Ezra Hudson, one of Blake Lively's main attorneys, were bragging.
Now here's where it gets interesting. Within what felt like hours of that ruling, Blake's legal team rushed into private mediation with the Wayfarer parties. Fast. Unusually fast. And Geragos believes that was not a coincidence. Not an accident at all.
The California Supreme Court case says if you go through private mediation, you can't sue your lawyer for legal malpractice. So what this was a very sophisticated legal strategy to insulate the big firm from getting sued for the tens of millions of dollars for what could have been argued was.
Because there's a California Supreme Court ruling that says if a settlement is reached through private mediation, it becomes nearly impossible for a client to later sue their own lawyer for malpractice. The mediation is sealed, confidential. What happens inside cannot easily be used in court. Think about that for a second. Actually, just sit with that. Her attorneys may have used Blake herself as a shield.
If you read Judge Lyman's order, missteps by her lawyers.
So what he's saying to Megyn Kelly here is that Blake's attorneys jumped into private mediation with the Wayfarer parties to come up with this settlement agreement. And when you do a private mediation, it protects you from being sued by your own client for malpractice. Because what goes on in that mediation cannot be used in court, or is very difficult to get that information out because it's...
They steered her into a settlement not to protect her, but to protect themselves. And they did it in a way that leaves her with almost no legal recourse if she ever figures that out. I want to be honest with you right now, because this part genuinely bothers me on a human level. Whatever you think of Blake Lively, if this is what happened, if her own legal team maneuvered her into a corner to save their own reputation and their own bank accounts, that is a betrayal. That is cold. And it says everything about how this town actually works. Justice isn't the product. Billable hours are. And now those same attorneys are on LinkedIn, posting graphics talking about how proud they are. Ezra Hudson, Blake's lead attorney, quoted as saying Blake's mission from day one was to expose and hold accountable those who weaponize smear campaigns. The mission continues. The mission continues. She got $0.
Someone pointed me to Manat, Phelps, and Phillips' LinkedIn page. And here, this is interesting, with a picture of Ezra Hudson, they posted this, saying a Manat team led by Ezra Hudson secured a favorable settlement for Blake Lively in her case against Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios. This marks another critical, important step in Ms. Lively's lawsuit, in Ms. Lively's pursuit of justice after raising concerns about inappropriate behavior during production of It Ends With Us and the subsequent retaliation campaign levied against her. Isn't that insane? They're saying that they negotiated a favorable settlement for Blake. She just dropped everything and got $0. How?
10 claims dismissed, and the mission continues. But wait, because there's another layer to this that nobody's really talking about. If Blake eventually wakes up to what happened here and she tries to sue them for malpractice, she's going to run directly into that mediation wall they built around themselves. And here's what that means. She'd basically have to prove that her own lawyers gave her bad advice, using evidence that's now locked inside a sealed, confidential process that her own lawyers controlled. And this is the part that should make your blood run cold. Those attorney fees Blake's team keeps mentioning, the ones they're seeking as part of the settlement, Geragos pointed out that's almost certainly going to be covered by malpractice insurance anyway. So it's not even real money coming out of anyone's pocket. It's a way to plant a headline.
Position where I believe them. And as Geragos also points out here, those attorney's fees she's seeking, that's just going to be covered by insurance anyway. So it's not a big deal. It's just a way for her attorneys to say, hey, we can do this so it looks like you actually won. So this is how her attorneys are trying to save their asses, because now they're ridiculed all over the internet.
A way to let the press say Blake recovered something, when in reality, the firm protected itself, walked away clean, and let Blake hold the bag. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's people are still funded, still backed, still have projects in development. A respected Hollywood newsletter called PAC, not some anonymous tabloid, but an actual industry publication, reported this week that 99% of working actors would still take a job with Baldoni if it paid. Because Hollywood runs on money, not morality.
And this article mainly says that people will still work with Justin Baldoni if his projects are funded. That's all it is about in Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't care about people. Hollywood cares about money. And if they can make money on someone or something, they are in.
And yet, here's what's buried in all of this. The Wayfarer Foundation, doing actual charitable work, had to shut down because of the pressure from this lawsuit. Real charities, real people helped. Gone because of this.
I don't think so. They also mentioned, by the way, how Steve Sarowitz had to shut down the Wayfarer Foundation because of the pressure from this lawsuit. He was doing a lot of good. They were doing a lot of good with a lot of charities. And because of Blake Lively and her threat to them, they decided to shut that down. So it's impossible to calculate how much damage Blake Lively actually did by filing this lawsuit, by the way, because there's so many other layers.
So I need to ask you directly. If Blake Lively's own attorneys engineered this whole settlement to protect themselves from her, if they silenced her ability to fight back while posting victory selfies on LinkedIn, what does that tell you about who's really been running this from the beginning?
Added a quote from Ezra Hudson in here saying, from day one, Blake Lively's mission was clear. Expose and hold accountable those who weaponize smear campaigns and retaliatory lawsuits to intimidate and silence survivors. That mission continues. Well, we're going to see what happens now. It's so fascinating to me how they keep pushing this as a big win when every single lawyer that's been interviewed about this case said that they couldn't have lost any worse than they actually.
And more importantly, who do you think is ever going to hold them accountable for it?